Have you ever accidentally gotten one of your plushies super dirty? Me neither. No, that's never happened. Sometimes in life, accidents are just gonna happen and there's nothing you can do to avoid it. And sometimes in life, you just make poor decisions and it results in a mess. Any of you who follow me on social media may be aware of my crochet goose obsession, I'll say. One of the things that I have been working on for a while, off and on, has been a new goose pattern. I decided, I think 2 years ago now, to make a giant goose plush for myself. I was quite surprised to find out just how many people wanted to make a giant goose for themselves too. I also have a tiny goose pattern for Gustav the Tiny Goose. I've got both ends of the spectrum covered, so let's make something in the middle, just a normal, average-sized goose. And that is what I did. May I introduce you to Gustafer? This is my new goose pattern that's going to be coming out. This is a replica of my giant goose, just in like a more reasonable size. I also made a version of him laying down if you want him in a more like reclined position. This one also has no-sew wings. My problem and the reason for this video and what we're going to do today is I got my geese dirty unintentionally while setting them down on the ground outside. It should have occurred to me that when I was sitting them on the ground in my backyard, they would probably get dirty, but I don't know why that didn't occur to me at the time. I mean, it's basic math. White goose plus dirty ground equals dirty goose. Now, this guy here, you can't really see where the dirt is because it's on his butt. The whole tail feather section and underneath and the bottom of this goose's feet are dirty. There are a few different dirty spots on my reclining goose as well. I threw it out there on Instagram to see if anybody had any experience in cleaning plushies and if they had any ideas on how to safely get these dirt stains off of my geese and turn them back to a pristine white color. While the materials used are technically all machine washable, I've just not had luck machine washing things that are stuffed with polyfill in the past. They always ended up getting lumpy and gross and misshapen, and that's just not a chance I'm personally willing to take with my geese. I thought we would try out a couple of different methods today and see if we can find something that works the best. We're going to try some methods that don't involve having to get the entire thing wet. If it comes down to it, I will fully hand wash the entire plushies. They're just a bit large and it's going to be difficult for me to accomplish that. So we're just going to try a few different things that were recommended and see if we can get these dirt stains off of my white geese and make them look a little less dingy. Okay, we have our goose right here. I have tried just kind of lightly dusting off the surface, see if I can get any surface dirt off without having to get it wet. I have a few different tools that we're going to use at our disposal. I have a spray bottle of just water. We have Dawn Power Wash. I have some hydrogen peroxide with the spray tip. I also have plain dish soap that I have added baking soda to. I think the first thing I'm going to try is a little hydrogen peroxide on this lighter belly stain on this reclined Gustafer. I'm not going to wet it first. I'm going to try just wetting it with hydrogen peroxide and seeing what that does. We'll let that sit for just a second and see if the fibers will absorb it. I've grabbed a couple of just little hand towels that I can use to blot if I need to. So it looks pretty soggy on the surface. I have a clean toothbrush. I'm going to take this clean toothbrush and I'm going to agitate the surface a little bit just to see if I can get some of the dirt to let go. I don't think that's doing anything. I'm going to blot his tummy. I can definitely see like a green yellow bit right here that is not coming up. This does not look to be doing anything in my personal opinion. but we're gonna let it sit for a couple minutes and give it like 5 or 10 minutes and see if it does anything. While we're waiting for the hydrogen peroxide, we are going to try a different method on Gustafer's chin. So this is a relatively small spot. Let's try using some Dawn Power Wash. This was a suggestion from one of my viewers on Instagram. I have actually never personally used Dawn Power Wash in the past. I know it just tells you to sit it on there. I'm gonna give it like a slight agitation here with this toothbrush, just to make sure that it's gotten into the area. And I've rinsed off my toothbrush so that way we don't have any residue on it. We're gonna let both of these stains sit for a couple minutes, and now let's try something else. On the tips of the wings of our goose, we also have a couple stains. So on one, I'm gonna try just using dish soap, and on the other, I'm gonna try the dish soap with the peroxide. I sprayed the wingtip with a little bit of water, and now I'm going to take just clear dish soap, unscented dish soap, and I'm gonna rub it in to his wing. Get a little bit more water on there. I'm gonna try agitating it with our toothbrush. And now I'm gonna try rinsing that off and seeing how that looks. I have had a lot of success with this method just cleaning clothes, so I feel like this is going to be successful. It looks like it's still a little soapy, so I'm just going to spray water on it and squeeze it to try to get the water out of it. Check the surface again. Okay, it doesn't feel foamy anymore, and it honestly looks pretty clean. So I feel like that has already been successful, but let's try our other methods. Let's not throw the whole experiment out just because we know one of them is successful. So we can definitely, oh, his other little wingtips got wet. We can definitely use just normal dish soap and water, and that seems to be easily getting out light stains. But you know, we've got another wing stain over here. Let's try a different method. Let's try the baking soda, because this one is a little bit of a heavier stain. So I have a little bowl that I have mixed some baking soda with some dish soap, and it kind of separates a little bit with it sitting here. So I'm going to give it a stir, and then we're going to take some of this milky looking mixture, and we're just going to put that on there. Let's give a little spray. And then we'll put some more on the top here. Just gonna spread it around a little bit with my finger. Now, the commenter who said this said to take some Dawn dish soap and mix it with some baking soda and to put it onto your plush and to let it dry and then clean it off. I'm not sure what the letting it dry aspect will do. Maybe they're saying they think that the dirt will like grab onto the baking soda, and then when you dry it, the baking soda will like be on the surface and you can like brush that off. So you still need to rinse off the soap residue. Otherwise, there's going to be soap left on your plushie, and that's going to be sticky and gross. I can see that it looks like it's done a little something already. I'm going to give the commenter the benefit of the doubt, and we're going to let this sit on the plush and then see if that does anything. We're coming back to our hydrogen peroxide spot, and it still looks pretty dirty to me. Let's get a clean towel. I'm going to try to blot out, get that off, and it doesn't seem to be doing anything on its own, honestly. I can see little like green specks that are still stuck to this, so it's clearly not working well there. It's been a few minutes and we've let our Dawn Power Wash soak. Let's see about getting it off. This feels very sudsy, so I'm gonna spray it down with water a bit and then take my little kitchen towel and blot up the excess, and you can see there's still soap on the surface. It's still sudsy. The power wash does seem to have been effective. It does seem to have gotten the dirt residue off. In order to get the soap residue off of the plush, the power wash does require a bit more rinsing for me to get that off than it did for the soap. But also, I could have sprayed more soap on here. Who can say? It does appear to have been effective though. Let's try rinsing off our other wingtip. So I've let this soak for a few minutes now, and it doesn't really seem to necessarily be doing anything. I can see the residue of the baking soda on my fingers though, so maybe the baking soda will cling to the dirt particles and help them come off a little bit more. Let's give it a rinse and see. Does seem to be coming clean, but it is still quite soapy. You can see all the goo coming off. You can hear it squeaking, like it's becoming squeaky clean, which is a good sign. This one looks pretty darn clean too. The power wash part still smells and seems like it's got power wash on it. There we go. Regular soap and water or the Dawn Power Wash seem to be the more effective methods right now. The baking soda didn't seem to do that much difference to me, honestly, than just using soap. And the soap took less soap and it took less time and effort. At this point, I'd say regular old soap and water, nothing beats it. I'm gonna keep letting this hydrogen peroxide, I don't know, it feels a little dry. I've given the peroxide spot another good spritzing. Kind of rub it in here. And we'll just let this sit for another couple minutes and see if that improves our results. The dirtiest spots by far are on the seated goose's butt feathers. Now that we've determined that soap and water are pretty darn effective at cleaning off this plush, let's try tackling a dirtier stain. Admittedly, the stains that we tackled at first are lighter. This one is the worst by far. We've got some like yellowing, like pollen and grass looking stains, as well as some darker dirt stains. I think this would be a good place to see if the power wash is more effective than just plain soap and water. I feel like some dirt stains I might be able to get out, but these like yellowy green discolorations, I really worry that those are not going to come out easily. I'm going to spray this one with some water. Just kind of pat it to make sure that the water is going in. And now let's spray it down with some soap. To give this a fair chance, I'm going to agitate it here to help the soap get into the surface of this plush yarn. I'm only agitating lightly because I don't want to mess up the pile or the surface of this yarn. I think the little pollen grass stains are going to be the harder ones to get off than the plain old dust and dirt. While we let our power wash sit on the tail feathers, let's try cleaning off the bottom part of our goose with soap. I'm going to give it a little bit of a spritz and put some soap on there and then try it out. We've got a damp goose butt now. I'm just spreading that soap around with my fingers. We'll get the little white parts of the leggies too. And our second leg. You might be saying, Grace, why aren't you doing this like in the sink? And my answer to you is, my sinks are small and I don't have a bathtub. We only have a shower in my apartment. I'm going to take my little toothbrush and agitate the goose butt area. And you know, I was also concerned about getting the goose too wet and being too forceful with him. If I put this directly under the faucet, it's going to soak into all places of the plush. Whereas if I do it in a spot treatment way like this without involving the sink, it's less likely that I will end up with unintended consequences. If this were a smaller plush, I would definitely be just hand washing the entirety of the plush. It might be too early to tell, but it does look like it's coming off. Okay, we're gonna start trying to rinse off this area and see how it is doing. Riveting footage of a woman cleaning a plush goose ass. And this is what I decided to do with my day. It's looking pretty clean. Okay, it's time to wash off the power wash on the tail and see how good of a job this has done. There were green-yellow stains on these two feathers that I can no longer see. So this power wash is honestly getting really caked in stains off of this. It is, as I had thought before, taking more rinsing in order to get it off. We're gonna put this into time lapse, and editing Grace here. My time lapse footage got corrupted, so we're just gonna skip ahead to where it is cleaned off. I think, honestly, looking at this, having rinsed it off a lot, I'm having trouble telling if there's any remaining stains. It does require a lot more rinsing to get that power wash off. I'm not sure if that's just because of how highly concentrated of a soap it is, but it did take me a lot more effort to rinse out the Dawn power wash than it did to rinse off the normal soap or the soap and baking soda areas. It did, like I said, it got off the yellow and green grass stains or pollen stains that were on this that I was unsure I'd be able to get out using soap alone. So I think that's pretty successful. Returning to our peroxide belly goose, still visibly stained. Now maybe as this dries, it will lighten further, but as it stands, it did not do enough. I can still see like green yellow dots of like pollen and grass stains. I'm not sure which these are, so I'm just going to keep saying both. So it would seem that just peroxide isn't going to be enough. Because this belly is such a wide area and is going to be hard to rinse off well, I am not going to do power wash on this. Instead, I'm going to just use some soap and we'll see if we can just get this lighter stain on this belly along with its little yellow and green counterparts to come up. And we're just gonna give it a little bit of abrasion. And here is where my camera's SD card became full and it stopped recording. So instead of seeing the rest of whatever I was talking about, we are just gonna skip ahead and show you the clean geese outside in the sunshine. My conclusions after all of our experimentation here is that plain old dish soap and water is good for most stains. But if you've got something really dirty or pretty aggressive stains, I would try that Dawn Power Wash. Just be aware it will take a lot more rinsing. I hope this video was helpful to you, or at least entertaining to watch. If it was, please consider hitting that like button and subscribing because I upload crochet videos like this as well as tutorials every other Wednesday, and I love to make new crochet friends. Speaking of crochet friends, come follow me on social media. I am over there being a silly goose on the regular, so if you want to know what I'm up to between YouTube videos, come over and hang out with me there. Thanks again for watching, and happy crocheting!